For this week's discussion post, I'm going to be answering option number 1, which is participants and historians today consider the Vietnam War a tragedy. Why? To what extent did U.S. political and military leaders misunderstand the situation in Vietnam? And what about this war generated such intense opposition on the American home front? So, first of all, this war lasted forever, like it lasted years, and like nothing was accomplished. So I think that's one of the reasons why it was very misunderstood and why nobody really understood why it was happening, because it lasted forever and they thought that Americans would win easily with our like developed like weapons and like stuff, because also like during this time like the economic industry and like industrialization of the country was going on, so we had like more developed weapons, I'm pretty sure, during that time, and everybody thought that America would win like really quickly and it would be a quick war to fight, but it wasn't, and it was actually like very bloody and traumatizing war that was fought. And what else? The war like never made any progress on anything, and it just felt like unneeded, and so many soldiers were lost, and soldiers like when they came back home to their families were like traumatized from the war and didn't want to go back, and they just didn't know how to continue on. They had lost so many people and friends and soldiers and partners and everything, and it just wasn't really a good outcome for how much work was put into the war, and it split up, like families were torn apart during the war. I mean, because the men would go off and fight, and women would usually stay home with their children, and sometimes these children's like fathers would never come back, and yeah, it tore apart families and it hurt like everything around them, and the America didn't realize how the Vietnamese would fight, and they didn't realize how like determined, I think is a good word to use. They were very determined, and they were very determined to win, and in the end it just like felt very pointless, and it felt like they had lost so many soldiers for nothing to be accomplished. And there was like oh, and then another thing was the draft. Like younger men were forced to fight in the war, which was awful because they had never agreed to it, and they were just sent there, and a lot of them were lost as well. And I think it was just the overall point of the war just was lost, and nobody really understood why we had lost so many soldiers over nothing. So that's it.